So began a strange jungle friendship between a pair of mismatched orphans drawn together by chance and their common need for companionship. By afternoon, their wanderings had brought them back inside the ruins of Tulum, and it was here that the Margay found what looked to him like a good place for an orphan kitten to make his home. Sunset marked the end of a perfect day. Of course, Chango would be welcome at the Margays anytime, but he already had his own home with Ramon and Carlos, and that was where he headed as the evening shadows closed in. The human part of his family had been working hard all day, repairing some minor damage the storm had done around the house. They were ready for a good night's sleep. Well, so was Chango, but not in that basket. In the weeks that followed, they slipped back into the rainy season routine. Ramon worked hard to keep the vegetable patch from being overgrown, while Uncle Carlos made his jungle rounds. One day, not far from home, Carlos was surprised to meet some old friends, a team of archaeologists, led by Dr. Manuel Ortega, who'd worked in the neighborhood last year. Carlos welcomed them back and hoped the weather wouldn't interfere with their work. Another big storm or two might still hit before the rainy season ended. Carlos was a chiclero, and his working days were spent finding mature sapodilla trees and tapping them to harvest the chicle latex, which is used as the basis for chewing gum. In each tree, he made a series of slanted cuts which formed a channel for the chicle to run down into a container below. He would be back the next day to pick it up. Ramon began his daily chores by setting out the guest register to be signed by tourists visiting the ruins. After that, usually with lots of help from Chango, he did the housekeeping. When he was lucky, he got time to do some reading, which invariably put Chango right to sleep. Most important of all, though, was the job of boiling down the chicle as Uncle Carlos brought it in. After it had boiled long enough to drive out most of the liquid, what was left in the pot was a giant gumball, still unflavored, of course. Then it was packed into wooden molds and was ready for sale to the chewing gum factory. Every so often, they accumulated enough to make a trip there worthwhile. Normally, Ramon went along, but today he had decided to stay home and keep Chango company. He'd even have time for some fishing. As it turned out, though, he would have been a lot safer if he had gone with Uncle Carlos. Chango and the Margay, as usual, followed Ramon as far as the banks of the lagoon. From experience, though, they knew he'd be busy here for quite a while, and there'd be plenty of time to go off and do some exploring. If Ramon had only been interested in spearing his dinner, he'd have been through in just a few minutes. What always kept him here was his fascination with the ever-changing pageant of life in the lagoon. For an orphan monkey, Chango had been very lucky. He'd not only found himself a new family, but the little cat had become a special friend, too. Still, like all of his kind, Chango was always eager to make new friends. And the appearance of a raccoon family down below looked like the chance to do just that. The Margay was naturally a bit more cautious, so he'd just wait to see what